Squad, prepare for takeoff. Greg leading Marcel and Tanya. Your Copilot's destination! The SharePoint Soul! Engines ignite, the runway is near. Greg is the captain, the mission is clear. Marcel and Tanya, host by his side. Guiding the vision, we're ready to fly. No guesswork, no rebuilds, we're breaking the mold. With Lookbook 365, the story unfolds. Take me to the SharePoint Zone. From it works to wow. We've made it our own. Designs take flight, shining bright, breaking free. We're building tomorrow with Lookbook 365. Templates and layouts, the future in hand. Navigation polished, all perfectly planned. Her pilot's ready, the copy flows fast. This is the intranet built to last. Smart structures and patterns, the pathway is shown. With SharePoint horizons, the zone is our home. Take me to the SharePoint Zone. From it works to wow. The vision has grown. Greg leads the squad with the hosts on the line. Marcel and Tanya, together we climb. HR in, comes join the fight. Boosting adoption, engagement takes flight. Enterprises, lean teams, the lessons are clear. We've got the playbook, the future is here. Take me to the SharePoint Zone. From it works to wow. We've made it our own with Lookbook 365. Our mission's alive. SharePoint is soaring. The dream will survive. Take me to the SharePoint Zone. Greg's in command. We're never alone. Marcel and Tanya, the Copilots we trust. Together we're flying. The sky is for us. Take me higher. Never alone. Take me to the SharePoint
Wow, that rocks. Hello and a warm welcome to our M365 show. My name is Marcel. I'm your host for today. And Tanya, you introduce
My name is Tanya, actually. I'm the co-host of today, also a SharePoint expert, and I love to introduce to you, or maybe he could introduce himself. Greg Zelfond is here with us from SharePoint Maven.
Thank you, Tanya. Nice to be here.
So, Greg, a warm welcome to our show. Your other name, I think, much more people know you after your, I would say, other name, SharePoint Maven. Would you tell us, a short story about your experience about SharePoint Maven?
Absolutely, my pleasure. So welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So I started my career in SharePoint in early 2000s. All right, so SharePoint has been now, it's hard to believe, close to 25 years, and I just happened to use SharePoint, primarily as a business user in large organizations. And so I customized sites, I used them for document management, set up metadata, all that stuff. And I gained lots of experience, not as an IT person, but more as a business user in SharePoint. And then around 2013, I believe, that's when I started blogging about SharePoint. It was just a passion of mine, and that's how SharePoint Maven was born. It was actually born more as a blog than a business. And that was actually coincided with the time when Microsoft took SharePoint and all these other applications, to the cloud online and made them all part of Office 365. And so I started blogging, and people started noticing it and asked me to replicate certain things I blogged about, and the rest is history. That's how my SharePoint Maven consulting business, was born, and the blog.
Fantastic. And today we're talking about the Lookbook 365, Greg, which is one of your incredible contributions to the community, right? Can you explain to us what the Lookbook is actually?
Absolutely. So, over the years, of course, I would share all my, thoughts on SharePoint instructions. So if you go to my blog, and maybe I should share my screen right now.
Do that. Sounds good.
Yeah. Help. All right. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, thank you. So, my blog is mostly about instructions, how to create an intranet portal, how to set up hub sites, metadata, views, permissions, and so on. So, obviously most of my articles on my SharePoint Maven blog, they cover, how to create something in SharePoint or Microsoft-related Microsoft 365 applications. And over the years, essentially my, my clients, my loyal blog followers, they were asking me, all right, so we want to see now kind of the final product. What is possible to share with SharePoint and Microsoft 365? As a matter of fact, a lot of users who switched over to Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Teams, for that matter, during COVID times, they had no idea that there were other applications outside of Microsoft Teams. So as a result, that's when the idea was born that I should probably have, something to demonstrate the capabilities and educate my loyal followers, educate my clients of even the possibilities in SharePoint and Microsoft 365. And that's when I decided to create Lookbook 365, which is essentially a portfolio of mine showing different use cases for all these different applications, business use cases for all these different applications that we have in SharePoint, and not only SharePoint, but also other Microsoft 365 apps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool. So I think this is this and you use it for your customers to show what you can do with SharePoint, or it's more related for everyone in the crowd who can say here example where is an way of work for an intranet or something else. In which what is here more important for you?
Absolutely. So look, obviously Lookbook 365 is for everyone. It's not just for clients of mine. It's for literally anyone who wants to see the possibilities of SharePoint and Microsoft 365. Just as an example, obviously lots of organizations are using SharePoint or Microsoft Teams to collaborate and chat and schedule all those meetings. And some most organizations obviously use SharePoint for to store documents in the cloud. Not many realize that they can also build internet portals. in SharePoint. Not many realize that you can also utilize the list functionality to track projects, contacts, and so on. So that's essentially, that was the idea behind Lookbook 365, just to demonstrate the capabilities of all these applications. And of course, it's available to everyone, not just to my clients. It's really more like, like I said, like a portfolio for everyone to check out, a portfolio of my capabilities, but also the portfolio of Microsoft 365 capabilities as well.
I like that a lot, Greg, because by that approach, or with that approach, you're contributing a lot to the SharePoint community, right? Because we all are relying, or we have to rely on the stuff that's out there on GitHub or somewhere else. And most of the time on GitHub, it's really technical. So if you want to showcase something, you have to build it for yourself. But by looking at the Lookbook 365, you can just show it, how it will look when you're deploying it. I really love that approach.
Thank you, Tanya. And you bring up a good point. You can actually see it front and center. Everything you see on Lookbook 365 is, these are all the designs that were created out of the box. All right. So GitHub, of course, has lots of, content, but I agree it's a bit technical and it's actually beyond my, expertise as well. But everything, all the examples that you see in, on Lookbook 365 were created using out-of-the-box functionality. That has been my philosophy, throughout all these years. That has been my philosophy on SharePoint Maven, and this is the philosophy I keep with my Lookbook. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to purchase any third-party applications or tools. Everything you see in here can be created with the software you already have.
And what types of scenarios does it actually address? Is it intranet, knowledge management, knowledge sharing? What types of scenarios can we see here in the Lookbook?
Absolutely, all of the above. So, so I decided for now, and I will probably expand on this in the future, but for now, if you go to lookbook365.com, homepage, you will see this 6 major categories. And this, the reason I came up with those, because this were like most frequently requested, questions, I guess, and categories from my clients and loyal followers. So you can see them all here. The intranet obviously is a big one. Lots of organizations are switching to intranet in SharePoint from some third-party tools. Project management is obviously a big one as well. The ability to capture lists and trackers, checklists. Document management, of course, knowledge management, which is actually a pretty hot topic right now with the evolution of Copilot AI, and then forums and surveys. So these were kind of the big categories. I will probably expand on this, but these are the ones I have at the moment.
Yeah. I think we should go a little bit deeper, and we should take a deeper look with the intranet. So one important fact for my last week, I was in talk with a customer, and the customer said, we talk a lot about our next intranet, but it should look like that. And I got a screenshot from SharePoint Maven, and I think it's really good to know that your impact on customers worldwide is great. But I think we should go through the different intranet and department sections here. I think it could be interesting for the whole crowd here.
Absolutely, thank you. So yeah, if you go to, once again, Lookbook 365 and you click on Intranet section, you will see examples of the possibilities, primarily with the Intranet landing page. I also have some designs related to some of the department sides, but usually the most obviously requested feature, if you will, or use case is the ability to create just nice looking intranet home pages. And this is exactly what you can see here. These are just different examples, and I pretty much add new designs every week. But this is where you can see some of this examples of intranet home pages for various types of businesses. Now, one thing I should mention is that you will probably notice that some of these designs are really nice looking compared to kind of strictly SharePoint out of the box. And the reason for that is because they will, they were created using essentially flexible sections capability in SharePoint that we now have, and the graphic design application. Everything you see here, though, is still out of the box. There are no third-party applications used here or third-party software to implement all this. But I just wanted to point this out, that some of these designs were obviously created thanks to the new flexible sections capability we now have. And if you make it to this category, you can literally just browse by different use cases, different types of sites that you have. So depending on, once again, many times, for example, I have clients who say, we are looking to implement SharePoint. We have no idea what's possible. Can you give us some examples? Or we need to send it to our CEO for approval. And this is a great, I guess, website to do so.
Greg, this is helping us SharePoint consultants a lot, this site, because people or companies are expecting from us that we all have our own lookbooks. And then they always ask the question, can you show to us pretty sites or pretty examples? And then we just have to open Lookbook 365 and don't have to rebuild every other intranet we already did, maybe with sensitive data, right? You can't show everything you already did.
Exactly, you bring up a very good point. Absolutely, and sorry if I interrupted you, but you bring up a good point. Too often users would say, can you give us access to your SharePoint website and your environment? And obviously it would be a challenge, and this is essentially a portfolio of images that curated portfolio images that users can just easily browse and select from.
Yeah, this is pretty inspiring, I would say. Do you also think this is accelerating the deployment of intranets based on SharePoint Online?
Absolutely. I think it helps with definitely with the user adoption. And again, the biggest challenge that I always had throughout the years, and this is not just related to Intranet, it's probably related to all the applications, is the education factor. A lot of users, and that's understandable, a lot of organizations who were switched to Microsoft 365 overnight during COVID times, they have no idea what's possible. They have no idea about all these other applications that exist in Microsoft 365, like Planner, for example. So that's essentially the idea behind it, to accelerate the adoption, to accelerate the education, and just show the possibilities to the users, to get them excited about the new apps and embrace them.
Great.
Really, 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 really interesting. So you walk through our next topic or segment. This is projects. I really like this projects part from SharePoint. So I built a lot of project solutions regarding to teams and the integration, and the possibilities in SharePoint are really good. So could you show us your approach regarding to projects integration? I think this was the first part what I saw from the Lookbook, and I said, oh, this is amazing, and you should show this today.
Absolutely. So yeah, the other category I have is related to project management, and the Intranet category is mostly about SharePoint, obviously, and the homepage, the main home site, if you will. Project management is actually pretty dear to my heart, because in the past life, I've been a business analyst, a IT project manager. So I use lots of these tools that I'm demonstrating, in this category. The idea behind this project management, this is not just about, Planner or Microsoft Project, applications. This is literally about all the capabilities of all Microsoft 365 applications that you can use for project management. For example, I have lots of clients, once again, shifting from, third-party applications like, let's say, Monday.com, Asana, and so on. And they're obviously shifting to Microsoft technologies, but yet they're not familiar with the capabilities of those tools. So that's exactly what this category does. It shows you all the various possibilities. It shows you how you can use, Planner, for example, instead of some of these other third-party tools that you're using. It shows you how you can utilize the SharePoint site for project management and essentially create a site and manage projects in SharePoint. Essentially everything related to RACI chart, right? That you would typically build in Excel, you can actually replicate quite easily in Microsoft Lists. So essentially, it's not just one application highlighted here. It's really the topic of project management and how you can use various applications within Microsoft 365 to do so. And of course, right now we have the evolution of Microsoft, Planner Premium. So I have a few examples of those as well. And to your earlier point, essentially, this screenshots that you see, these capabilities, they definitely help organizations accelerate the transition from some of the other tools that they third-party tools they already use to Microsoft 365 technology, which they already invested in. And that obviously helps with user adoption and cost savings and so on.
I think one of the problems is that companies sometimes don't know about all the capabilities and functions the M365 suite is bringing, right? You could build a planner board by using lists, for example, in private channels and all that stuff. Can you show us some examples for task management over here in your project section?
Absolutely. So I obviously have a few here already, and we'll keep adding. So this is just a regular, a lot of organizations are using, obviously lots of maybe large organizations do some serious project management, but a lot of times I hear requests like, we just need to do some basic, task management. And at the moment, most, organizations use, some, in most cases, Excel to do so. So this is a good introduction to Planner, which a lot of organizations don't realize they have and already pay for. And you have it as part of Microsoft Teams already when you create a Microsoft team or a team site in SharePoint. So this is an example of just a very simple plan in a Planner. So if you don't require to manage resources or effort or stuff like that, if you just need something informal, this is a good candidate for that. Likewise, I have some clients who are obviously into more serious project management that have been using a Microsoft Project, application historically, where they need to manage resources, dependencies, and so on, some serious project management. So for that, obviously, Planner Premium is a great fit. And once again, I have examples of those as well.
I really like that. And you just said this is all coming out of the box, right? You're just using native features.
Exactly. Right? This is literally just native, native capabilities. There are no third-party tools utilized here. Just literally using the Planner that organizations already have.
And Greg, can you show us again the SharePoint site you created for the project, actually, because a lot of my customers actually don't know that there's a SharePoint site behind their teams. There is the Teams site. And I really like that example because you can do a lot of stuff with your Teams site as well, as you can see over here in this example.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, this is actually what I do a lot of time for my consulting business. And this is what I actually have done for many years. When I just started out with SharePoint, I was actually creating SharePoint sites similar to what you see here, but that was back in classic SharePoint. But this is an example of essentially a team site that you get, like I said, when you create a Microsoft team that you can use for project management. So if you have a large project going on for quite some time, maybe a few months, few years, and you want kind of a single place for everyone to go to see, the important, templates, documents, deadlines. This is definitely a great way to do so. I am actually doing quite a lot of those, sites for my clients. And a big use case, for example, is external sharing. So a lot of times you need to share progress with your stakeholders, maybe your clients, and invite contractors. into your site. And this SharePoint gives you a nice way of doing so, because in Microsoft Teams it's all about chat, it's all about kind of hard, hands-on stuff, versus the SharePoint side is kind of your front end and your window to the outside world, if you will.
Yeah, and I think there was another interesting example. This was the list, and I think a lot of customers didn't know what they can do with Microsoft List, and the difference between Excel and List. I think so. For example, the main advantage is here to work with people picker columns. Could you show here an example regarding to IT help desk or asset management tracker?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is one of my biggest issues as well. So, of course, lots of organizations are using Teams already to chat and schedule meetings, obviously using SharePoint for document management, but not a lot of users realize that we have list capability, which is essentially SharePoint. Yeah, a lot of organizations just use an Excel for to store something that would be a good candidate for the list. So, and this is a huge eye opener to many of my clients and loyal followers. And again, everything you see here is out of the box. This is just a regular list functionality. Obviously, I did a bit of color coding and formatting and all these different views that you can create. But I pretty much tell my clients that anything you do in Excel in terms of capturing information, anything you have with rows and columns in Excel, that's a great candidate for the list. And obviously, because when it's in the list, it's easier to update it. You have the benefit of version history. You can enable various formatting rules, integrate with Power Automate, something you cannot really easily do with Excel. So I have a few examples here, and these are not, the category is called checklists and trackers, so it's not really limited to Microsoft Lists. It's essentially all about various checklists and trackers. So sometimes, Planner might be a good, candidate for the checklist as well. But yeah, most of those examples are lists. And anything, like I said, anything you currently have in Excel, your employee list, your client list, project list, essentially Microsoft List is a great candidate for it. Video playlist, that's an awesome example that I think we'll see.
It's just this is a list, actually.
This is a list. This is actually a Microsoft, template, right? When you create a list and obviously in list application, this is one of those provided, templates, and it allows you to. It pretty much works like a YouTube list where you can create a list of all these different videos you have all over the place. So I work with lots of, financial clients, insurance, compliance. Where they need to, have users view certain, videos, right? A series of videos during onboarding or as part of recurrent training. And this is an awesome candidate. Again, everything is out of the box. You have a really nice, player experience built in. And yeah, it's just an amazing experience for your employees. To experience. And again, everything you see here is out of the box. Employee directory. I mean, this might not work for large organizations because obviously you probably will be better off with maybe some third-party tools, then. But if you have just maybe, let's say, a few hundred even people, you can use them. You can use it to build a nice-looking employee directory and maybe embed it on the homepage.
And do you think list is also useful when it comes to automation or having to set up rules or something like that? Because I guess that makes sense for trackers.
Absolutely. So first of all, lists have lots of great integration. Let me see if I can find one here. Probably, I think I have it under forms. And in the other category, we will go in a second. So lists, first of all, now have great integration with Microsoft Forms. So in the past, if let's say I submitted an entry, you had actually to build a custom Power Automate, workflow to bring those entries to lists. Not anymore. Everything is out of the box. So you, for example, IT can bring in an intake form, can build an intake form and essentially have users fill out an issue, and it will be automatically populated into lists. We now have rules where, based on changes in metadata, certain things can occur, like an email can go out. And finally, of course, as you mentioned, if you are into Power Automate, you can really build some really sophisticated, workflows and automate things. So definitely lots of, potential in that area as well.
I have the feeling the combination of Power Automate and lists is really, really helpful. I think
Absolutely.
Power Automate loves lists.
Absolutely. And this is probably one of the biggest advantages of Excel. I mean, all the data is here. It's pretty much on the surface, and you can easily do, version history and, like you said, Power Automate.
So one question, one deep dive question to this. What do you think about JSON formatting regarding to this?
I'm not familiar with it. I know what it does. Again, my philosophy is strictly out of the box. And I know, I obviously know how it works, but this is not something I personally do or support. But once again, I encourage, obviously, if users are familiar with it, if you're comfortable, I know there are some nice examples out there on YouTube and on GitHub. So obviously, if you want to, and I've seen some great examples really from other consultants where you can really spice up the view, of your cards and, formatting. So by all means, if users are comfortable, they should embrace this, but it's just not something I do myself.
We are completely on the same page on this, because I'm also really a non-developer at all, but I can just recommend to do some vibe coding by using Copilot to do some JSON formatting. It's just what I experienced. Copilot is useful. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I got really good results from Claude Anthropic, Sonnet. And so if you do JSON formatting, I think the results are very good. But I'm on your side. It's not for it's something for a consultant or pro user, but for the end user, it's a good way of work, but not the right decision in the most things, because if I would say if an in-house worker leave the company, all the information about this formatting is lost. If it's not documented, and this is, I think it's really, really good. So, and this is an important part. So, if I saw this at the first time, all the formatting, I say, he did something with JSON formatting, and you say, oh no, it's all out of the box. And this is important to know for all the, I would say, consultants who are in our show today.
And also for the customers. I also thought there's JSON formatting in here, actually. So it's really nice to know that this is all coming with native functions.
Exactly. And, my point is, I always actually joke with my clients, when they ask me about, how I work and, what I can do to help them. And they obviously, one of the big questions is, the support, ongoing support after we go live, after I take the Intranet live or document management and so on. And I always joke with my clients. I tell them, you don't need me after we go live. I know it's counterintuitive, because usually consultants want to, obviously have a customer long term, but my philosophy is everything is out of the box. So because I don't utilize any custom, formatting, everything is out of the box. Pretty much if the customer needs to tweak something or change something on their homepage, it's pretty much a Google search away, right? It's not something they need to hire me or any third-party, developers, because it's something they can do themselves, without encountering extra costs.
Greg, I have a question. Can you show us some knowledge examples? Because right now I have the feeling that there is a trend that companies are coming back to Microsoft side when it comes to knowledge management. And I think it's because Confluence got way more expensive, right? By going to the cloud. So I have a lot of customers who want to get to know SharePoint better when it comes to knowledge management. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's actually one of the big, I guess, use cases for SharePoint. Now, as you mentioned, I mean, SharePoint by itself is not a dedicated knowledge, I guess, management system like maybe Confluence or some other applications. But especially, this is obviously an evolving topic, and I think we're going to see lots and lots of development here, lots of potential, especially now with evolution of Copilot AI and agents. And but historically, even before we had Copilot, I always had requests for SharePoint to be used as essentially a knowledge management platform. Now, and there are many different ways to achieve so. We have all these different ways and examples. So, for example, one of the most, I guess, easiest and most primitive examples would be to utilize the collapsible sections, right? So essentially something that pretty much is available out of the box. The biggest, one of most frequent, I guess, use cases and capabilities is essentially building a dedicated knowledge base site that utilizes pages for knowledge management. So the idea is that you would utilize essentially, create almost like a Wikipedia style, knowledge base where you would be capturing your knowledge on pages. Another way to do so would be, glossary of terms, right? To build glossary of terms. Sometimes users are used to seeing this glossary of terms they see on the web. And again, it's the page experience with page anchor. So in some cases, the knowledge base could be simply like a library of documents, maybe with some metadata. In some cases, lists again. This is just, if you don't have lots of maybe instructions, lots of images, and you can literally capture everything in a list. So a great use case for that as well. And finally now, and this is probably something we're going to see more and more, obviously with Copilot and Copilot agents that can be now integrated on the home pages through Agent Link web part. You can literally integrate, Copilot and really take advantage of your knowledge base using AI.
Greg, what do you think is on when we take a look on the roadmap and on the direction SharePoint is going? Do you think Microsoft is focusing on SharePoint as knowledge management solution? Do you think there's more to come?
I think definitely more to come. I mean, essentially, SharePoint, the way they position it, the way I see it is, it's the content management system, right? And whether you store your information on Intranet pages, or in documents, lists, the idea behind, obviously, Copilot, that it will find it, it will extract it from all those, sources. So yeah, this is definitely, I'm pretty sure, I'm updating all these categories quite a bit, but I'm pretty sure there will be lots of new development. You will see a lot of great examples here in the future.
And can you show us again, you had an example, can you scroll down a little bit in the knowledge management section, the glossary, I think it was. This is actually also out of the box stuff, right? On the next glossary of terms. Are these two lists or what is it actually?
Actually, no, this is just a regular page. This is just a page with page anchors. So essentially, you just build all the letters in of the alphabet right in here, and then this is just a single page, believe it or not. All right, it's a single page where you just list all the letters vertically, and then obviously all the text underneath. And the way it works, essentially all those different letters over here, you make them page anchors by turning them into headings. So if you choose heading 2 or 3, this allows you to link this directly to the dedicated letter. So if I click on D, it will then automatically scroll to D on the list. So it's very similar to what you get to see maybe online, like a true glossary. And this is huge. So obviously, because it's a page, you can obviously navigate it this way by letters of the alphabet. But, and you cannot see it on the screen here, every site has a SharePoint it has a search box, so you can use keywords to find stuff. So yeah, it works pretty much like all those examples on the web. And yeah, actually, I think I'm showing an example over here. So that's exactly how it works. You see, so essentially, a user clicks on the letter, and then it automatically scrolls down to the dedicated, section within the list. So I actually provided some instructions on how to build it on my SharePoint Maven blog, but to your earlier point, the users really wanted to see the examples, see it in action, because there are just so many ways, as you can see, to really build a knowledge base. Organization just needs to, find the solution that suits their needs.
And there's another advantage to this solution. I think this is extremely smart because right now we aren't able to search the SharePoint list with Copilot. So Copilot can't read your list right now. So if you're building up a glossary based on list, SharePoint can't use the glossary stuff or the glossary information.
Correct.
And this is only text. SharePoint can read it, right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And yes, and I'm pretty sure it's a matter of time, but from what I understand, Copilot goes after documents and page content already, so that's definitely a benefit.
I have a very special question, I think, regarding to knowledge. So as I started with SharePoint, we said we have users of the Intranet, 50% searcher, 50% clicker. Mm-hmm. Do you think regarding to Copilot and the chat integration, the searcher will be the chatter in the future, or is it will the clicker use more and more the chat too? So I think I have no idea where the way of as I would say usage will be searched. I think the M365 chat is really it's really big, but the integration with WebPart, it's still not really where, and only with several extra web parts what you need to install. So my question is, what do you think here? In which way SharePoint will go, and the users will work? That's more important, right?
I don't think anybody knows, to be honest, right? I think, that, to be honest, I'm not sure I have an answer to this question. I don't think anybody knows how things will, play out. I think one of the, advantages, I think a lot of users complain that, sometimes you see this web part and, they're in preview and maybe they're not quite ready for the prime time. And I get that. It might be overwhelming to the users to kind of see all this new functionality thrown at them. But at the same time, I think it gives us, consultants a little bit of a preview. And it gives a lot of users, power users, an ability to test it out. And I'm pretty sure this data gives lots of information, useful information to Microsoft on how people interact with SharePoint, how they interact with all these other applications. And in all honesty, I think we're just going to see a lot of, I'm not sure I have an answer to your question because I don't think anybody knows, and we will just need to wait and see. I mean, look, several years ago, we could never imagine that this would be the experience, right? And now, just a few years later, after the explosion of AI, we have all this additional, functionalities thrown at us. So we'll need to wait and see. Maybe we'll do another show in a few years, and we'll see how.
So
I think I have a practical question now. Now we've seen all your amazing templates. How should companies start when they want to improve their SharePoint sites by looking at all these templates? What are the key factors they should think of?
Well, I think it all comes down to requirements. As I work with clients, right, they might send me all these different screenshots and examples they found on the web, etc. But I think I always kind of set the baseline and expectations with my clients. I always, ask them about their particular use cases and specific requirements that they have. So it is very easy to be carried away by all those different templates and capabilities. My pitch to my client, for example, is always, let's start somewhere simple. Let's not Let's not implement all the applications, at once. Let's set them. Let's implement it using the phased approach and so on. So I usually pitch to my clients that take it easy. Don't implement everything at once. Start with some immediate requirements that you have. Conduct training along the way. Make sure that user adoption is probably the key here throughout each and every phase. So no matter whether you implement Intranet or document management or any of those other project management or knowledge base, the key here is training and user adoption along the way.
And another question, again, a practical question, I guess. Maybe you found a good template in here. How can I use this template? Should I rebuild it? Should I ask you to build it, Greg? How can we get these templates actually?
Absolutely. So there are a couple of options. So look, unlike Microsoft, a version of their Lookbook, which at one point we used to actually download, and you could actually install some of the templates and play with them. None of these templates are pretty much downloadable, right? And the reason for that is because there is just no way out of the box to achieve this. Yeah. So there are a couple of ways to to implement those in client's SharePoint. So obviously, option number one, if you see a template that you like, if the client sees the template that they like, obviously, I will be happy to recreate it in their environment using Figma and using obviously SharePoint out of the box. Which brings me to the second option. All this, and this only literally applies to Intranet, right? It doesn't apply to any lists or planner examples. But say you like a particular template in here and you want to implement it on your own. I provide all of these designs completely free of charge in Figma. Figma is obviously the hottest design graphic tool at the moment. And if you go to Figma community, if you have a designer on your staff, I'm pretty sure they're familiar with Figma. If they go to community and you find essentially my design kit, this is it right here. And essentially, literally, it contains all of those designs that I just showed you, and I keep adding them all the time in Figma. So if you have designers on your staff, if you're comfortable with Figma, you can just download them free of charge. You can obviously customize them, because the examples I have here obviously have, my own logos and my own content. But if you like a particular design, you can actually download it in Figma, you can change it, and then implement it yourself in SharePoint. However, obviously, if you don't have that capability, we'll be more than happy to do it for you as well.
Really,
awesome.
really good. This is the same way like Lucas, our last guest, works with their Power Apps, his Power Apps development. So Figma, I think, is the best way to to design or to speak about designs and to bring it and then to SharePoint. Really good. Thank you.
It's great. And I wish there was a better maybe integration. Maybe this is something we'll see in the future where you can really just import the designs into SharePoint. At the moment, it's quite manual, but hopefully this is something we'll see in the future.
Yeah, but maybe also to the listeners out there, this is also pretty hard to do. You would have to write a PowerShell script, get the right credentials and all that stuff. So this is really nothing that comes out of the box. Just download and upload it.
Exactly.
Yeah, this would be on my wish list actually for Microsoft to have an option to download pages and upload them again.
Exactly. I wish we could easily save them as templates. I hope that someday we'll see the same capability we have with WordPress, right? Where you can easily, install any theme you want, any plugin, right? I wish we could have the same easy experience where you could just go and purchase a third-party web part and install it with a click of a button. But unfortunately, that's not the case at the moment.
Yeah, so I think we have two sections, so what we didn't talk about, and these are the document and the forms section.
Yeah. So document management is obviously one of the big use cases, and the reason why a lot of organizations are migrating from Dropbox and maybe network drives. This is an area that I plan to expand in the future, but it shows some examples of how organizations can use SharePoint for document management. Now, obviously, most organizations are using good old folders, and I don't think anybody needs to be educated on how to use them. But my obviously, if you follow my blogs, one of my favorite features is metadata, right, and the ability to tag documents. So that's exactly what I show and demonstrate here in this section primarily. And this is where I educate, once again, my clients who are not familiar with metadata. So I show them how they can easily upload documents, tag them, and search them, almost like they're doing shopping online. So that's essentially what this section is for. And I have just literally a few examples of videos, how you can utilize SharePoint to store employee records, video library, for example. Again, we think about YouTube, but SharePoint and Stream are great for organizing, let's say, training videos. And with the integration of Stream, with a nice player experience, again, you don't need to really use any third-party video hosting solutions. Everything will be in SharePoint. So that's essentially the idea, behind this particular section. And then finally, I believe the last section I have is related to forms. This is a simple one. Essentially, this again, lots of users maybe use some third-party software. Maybe they use Google Forms. Maybe they have a lot of forms still on paper, PDFs. So this just provides some examples of how you can use Microsoft Forms to create intake forms and integrate them with Microsoft lists. So once again, all of those examples that you see pretty much strictly out of the box using the Forms app. There is not a lot of customization that's allowed with Microsoft Forms, but that's totally fine. A lot of time you really don't need to. So this is a good example, right? Expense form. I'm pretty sure every organization has one, mileage reimbursement form. So it's a great example where a user can fill out a form. They don't need to submit any PDFs or papers and sign them off manually. Everything is tracked, everything is in the list, everything has a history. So that's a great example of that capability.
And you've just shown the new Forms experience coming from Microsoft List, right? That was the starting point
exactly.
of this.
This is now possible thanks to, once again, the new capability and something that required Power Automate in the past. And it just didn't make sense, that you had to use Power Automate to connect the two. So now it's pretty much all out of the box, very easy to do. You don't need to share the list with anyone, right? The list could be residing on your private, team site, and then you can have the link to the form available maybe on the Intranet landing page. So the users fill it out, and all the details are populated in a list, accessible by, let's say, the finance team, and it goes from there.
Great. I like those examples. I also like that you can use emojis in your forms.
Yes, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Emojis are great. Maybe we can take a look into the chat, right, Marcel? There was a question in between from Louisa.
So, but I didn't know if the question asks, we need data wares for longer list on your handle max list issue. Yeah, now we see it.
Okay.
Where's the
And
limitation?
sorry, maybe I should stop sharing because I don't see the. All right. Oh, you know what? That's a good question, but not for me, as I'm strictly out of the box guy. I apologize, but yeah.
So I will answer that. So I think SharePoint has a problem with now it's in SharePoint Online 20,000 items or the 5,000 items.
Yes.
Anyway, and so if we have more documents or more lists like that, you need to talk about or think about indexes, and you need to define ways to handle that. And the best thing in SharePoint has ever been to have not so much people picker or lookup columns. So I hate lookup columns because so I'm running so much trouble with it. And I think it's ever been important to get a really good structure of the SharePoint lists and to define what is the way of working. So what you see today, the way of working with the standard functionality has ever been a good way because it's easy to handle. So if you found out you need data in a solution or you need data in a critical way, you should build a model-driven app or a Canvas app with Dataverse behind. And that's far away from it, from the topics from today. As I think it's important to say here. And Dataverse has ever been I would say, critical a way to handle critical data with Power Apps and not on the SharePoint part.
And there was another question, but we already answered that. Is everything out of the box in here? Yes, it is out of the box, actually. That's pretty great, Greg. I learned something new today. I had a lot of new ideas I've just seen in your lookbook that I really like. So I would not only call it out of the box, but it's also no code, right? Because JSON formatting is also out of the box somehow. I don't know, but it's really a no code. It's just no code solutions. I love that.
Code. Yeah, completely. Not even low code, no code.
Yeah. Really no code, not like in the Power Platform
Really,
when they
really
tell
no
you it's
code.
no code, but actually you have to code everywhere. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I think this is the most important thing. So we're running out of time. So one last sentence regarding to your lookbook and to the show today.
Sorry, can you repeat it?
One last sentence to your lookbook.
Okay, absolutely. Sorry. Well, I mean, I encourage you to see, to check out Lookbook 365. Obviously, for all the wonderful examples. If you want to learn how to build this stuff, you should probably go to SharePoint, Maven.com. I really have lots of instructions. Again, everything is out of the box. And so it will explain to you how to build it. But then if you want to see the examples, head over to Lookbook 365. And if you have any ideas, if you have any feedback, any ideas for me, any new categories you would like to see, or just if you want to share your examples, I mean, that will be great.
I have one. So if you have something search related in it, would be interesting regarding to knowledge.
Exactly, that will probably be part of knowledge management and Copilot, but absolutely, I plan to expand that. That's for sure.
And without using PMP search, because that is pretty annoying.
No.
No PMP search, please. But we all agree it's no code, right?
Not out of the box.
Yeah, not out of Sounds great. Thank you so much, Greg, for sharing all your expertise today, for sharing the Lookbook 365 to us. It was a pretty interesting session. I learned a lot, and I'm sure that all the other listeners and viewers also learned a lot today. So thanks a lot for attending.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Thank you very much, Tanya, for inviting me, and looking forward to doing this again.
Yeah, I thank you too. And last information, so our next show is with Laura Rogers. Stay tuned and have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Sean, and I train people to become Power Platform Solutions Architects. If you're watching this, you know Power Platform, but be honest. When you're building a solution, are you using the best tools to solve the problem or just the tools you know? If you love building powerful, scalable solutions that make your company money, let me share why our training is different. We've noticed that the best architects know a series of best practices and they apply them to every project. So we took all these best practices and put them into this course.